Well, Emilia Clarke, you play Daenerys Targaryen on probably the hottest show on TV right now, and you're probably the breakout star from the hottest TV show right now. So tell us what it's like for you. You're pretty new to the business, and you're already on, such an amazingly well-loved show.
Yeah, it's a bit of a whirlwind. Like, it's pretty crazy. Just only good things to be said from it, really. Just like incredibly grateful, still totally shocked that it's even happening. I kind of still have to pinch myself a little bit, and just hopeful that everyone's loving the show and that the fans are happy with what I've done and with what HBO's done as well.
Well, I'm sure you had to go through the auditioning process. Take us back to the day where you find out you've got the role on the show. What was that like?
The best day ever, I think it could be. Just indescribable happiness. I kept asking David and Dan if they weren't joking. I couldn't believe that they were actually telling me that I'd got the part. I couldn't believe it. But safe to say, I was very, very happy, and had a little party after that. So, yeah.
Your character goes through an amazing journey over the 10 episodes, starting off, as a almost frightened, innocent child bride to, the warrior queen that she becomes. Were you very familiar with the role to begin with? And what's been your highlight so far in terms of just her character development?
So I was familiar. I had my first audition, and then I read the book, basically. So before the second audition, I was fully aware of what was going on within the book. So I kind of... I saw the audition and I saw the character breakdown and was just incredibly interested. I read the book and then I was obsessed, and then I was kind of like a woman possessed. I just prayed and wanted the part so much more having read the book. The thing that stands out for me for Dani genuinely is it's just the journey that she goes on. It's just such a joy to be able to play a young woman blossoming into what she becomes. And that was just, as an actress, just such a treat, because it does in a way reflect what it is that I've been going through as well, because I only recently came out of drama school, so there was a lot that I could relate to on a fundamental level. And just being a young girl, like, there was a huge amount that I could relate to with Dani. So I kind of just saw that and wanted desperately to portray that on the screen with HBO's help.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, the production values on a show like this are incredibly high, they're definitely feature film quality. So in effect, it almost probably for you feels like you've shot 10 or 12 films here, in terms of time and effort and everything that was going in. Was it a difficult shoot?
No, having never shot a film before, I genuinely had nothing to compare it to. The only thing I had to compare it to was like very minor TV things. And so I'm kind of, when I started, much more seasoned actors were telling me, which is what I've later found out to be completely true, and that it is epic in its scale, especially for television. And it really feels like a 10-hour film. Like, I think when you watch it back to back, it is like a 10-hour film in its epicness, and I think that's really, really good of HBO, because the book itself is so epic in its quality as well. So the filming process for me was brand new. I genuinely have nothing really to compare it to. I had a blast. I had an amazing time. It was hard work, but it was really, really so rewarding and so fulfilling that I can't really fault it. So I just hope that all my other experiences are as wonderful. Fingers crossed.
They're going to have a lot to live up to, I guess, Emilia. But I'm going to ask you some show-specific questions. I'm just going to fire a few at you just to see what your reactions are. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, what were you eating when you had to hoe into that heart? What was that? It was just so grotesque, but it was also so it was so intense. So what was it?
Well, it was, okay, so they told me it would taste like gummy bears. That's what I was told. It didn't anything close to gummy bears. It was kind of, like, the best way I can describe it is congealed jam. that kind of tasted like bleach in a really sort of clinical way. Wow. Safe to say I didn't have any lunch that day, or the day after. And yeah, I used, I don't know, if the DVD outtakes are anything like how I felt, it's going to be quite grotesque watching those as well. The sick bucket was there.
I can imagine. And so also, tell us about mastering this new language that was created for the series and the Dothraki language. Was that really difficult for you to master, or was it pretty easy to pick up?
Yeah, it was really difficult, definitely, because I mean, it is in itself an entire language. It won an award. It's absolutely incredible. There's a full language to be learned, but we didn't learn the entire language because, I don't know, I've tried to learn French a million times and still I'm nowhere near close. So what we did is we mapped the English onto the Dothraki so that I knew, so far as my intonations went, I knew what I was saying, basically. So every word that I was saying in Dothraki, I knew what it was in English. And that really, really helped to get the arc and to get the kind of the gist of what I was saying. But the first time I learned Dothraki, it took me, I mean, as an actor with lines, they go in really quickly for me. I can normally just look at a sheet and it kind of goes in. But with this, it took me a really long time. But then you just get, as with everything, your brain just finds a way of kind of remembering it, like muscle memory. And so by the fourth scene of doing Dothraki, it was going in just as quickly. I kind of got a rhythm with it, basically. But it was amazing. Amazing.
Well, you were probably warned when you took the role that fantasy fans across the world are definitely passionate about what they see on screen and following that for the rest of their lives. Have you had good response from the fans?
So far, yeah. I mean, I haven't got that many kind of direct lines of contact with the fans, but the things that I've been told and what I've kind of seen on the surface, hopefully is good. Like, I think people are being nice, and if anyone kind of doesn't like what I'm doing, no one that I know has told me, so I'm quite happy not knowing that. But it's been my biggest wish that I've done the fans justice, because everyone who reads the book, that's the beautiful thing about books, is that you have your own version of it in your mind, and it can be an incredibly personal experience. And I know that that's something quite sacred that you don't want to mess with, especially as a book that's as wonderfully written and as loved as Game of Thrones. So I was very, very conscious of that. So if I've even, pleased like 10% of the fans, then I'm happy.
Well, tell us about working with Jason Momoa, who plays Khal Drogo on the show, because he starts off doing some pretty awful things to your character in the beginning episodes, and by the end, near the end, the chemistry between you is just so perfect, and you can just see the love between the two characters. And so, how did it develop between you and Jason when trying to develop that relationship?
Well, incredibly easily. With Jason, there's no kind of like breaking the ice. It's broken before you've even met him. He's such an incredible energy and such a wonderful person. Like, the first time he ever met me, he like rugby tackled me to the ground, and that was kind of like an introduction. So we became fast friends ever since I first met him. He's so full of love and just such a wonderful person, as well as being incredibly professional as an actor. So it was like a dynamite combination. I genuinely couldn't have asked for any more. He was really open in his dialogue. He cared about Khal Drogo as much as I cared about Dany. So we had a mutual love of the characters who loved each other, I believe, anyway. And yeah, it's an incredibly tricky situation. Her introduction, Dany's introduction to Khal Drogo, is that he's the most fearsome warrior around. So it's something you don't want to mess with. And for her, I think it is her survival instinct that allows her to love him, because she has a choice to make, and she decides to go with the one that's gonna make her survive as a person. And the thing that comes out of that is the love of her life, I think, anyway. And it's something beautiful and wonderful, and something that, having such a restrictive brother, she hasn't been able to experience an emotion as freely as that ever in her life before. So Jason for me was incredible as much as Drogo for Danny is incredible. So it was a good combo.
Well, to wrap up, Emilia, the Emmys are coming up in a few weeks, the Emmy nominations, and Game of Thrones being that there's so much buzz about it at the moment, well, whilst Emmy voters are voting, people are expecting it to do quite well. And probably some of the cast members may also be nominated, and you're being touted as one of those contenders because of your breakout role and the fact that so many people really appreciate the character. Now, if you were nominated, you've got to pick your highlight episode. That's how it works. Have you given any thought at all about what your favourite or best episode was of the season?
Yes, and it's probably the ones that I'm not in. Genuinely. I kind of allow myself to enjoy watching them so much more when I know that I'm not in it. So that's only one, that's episode 5. But genuinely, the one that I enjoyed filming the most is 10.
Really?
So I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah, we should tell our viewers that whilst we're talking today, this morning, today and tonight, given that we're all over the planet, episode 10 has not aired yet. So we're being very careful not to upset anybody and we're not spoiling anything.
Yeah.
But I must say, given that episode 9 has, episode 9, the episode where you are trying to, your character's trying to save Khal Drogo's life by slitting the throat of his esteemed horse. It's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive stuff. I mean, you've got a fallback right there. So it's a luxury, I think, to have so many episodes to choose from.
Yeah, there are many.
We want all the secrets from episode 10, and this will be the most highly viewed interview we've ever had.
Yeah. Come on, just you can tell us. We're not going to tell anybody.
No, we're kidding. Emilia, we really appreciate your time today, and so glad that you got this project and that you've been able to work on Game of Thrones, and we just wish you all the best and hope you have a great summer.
Thank you so much. You guys too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.